Hey guys, and welcome back to another explanation video. Today I will be covering the origin of the all-powerful Infinity Stones that we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Unlike the films, the Infinity Stones, known as the Infinity Gems in the comics, differ slightly from that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in particular with the colouring of the stones. However, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe becoming the biggest movie franchise in the world, Marvel Comics adhered to the MCU's popularity and changed the colours of the stones with the Marvel Legacy relaunch back in 2017. First, I am going to be covering the comic origins of the stones or gems and break down their colours and capabilities. Let's begin with the Soul Gem, which is green in colour. The Soul Gem allows the user to steal, control, manipulate and alter living and dead souls. When used in conjunction with the Power Gem, the Soul Gem is also capable of controlling all life in the universe. To match the MCU, the stone is now orange in the comics. Next, we have the Time Stone, which is orange in colour and allows the user to see the past and future as well as speed up, reverse or slow the flow of time. The user is also granted the ability to time travel, change the past and future, age and de-age beings and trap beings or entire universes in endless loops of time. When backed by the Power Gem, the user is granted complete control of the past, present and future. In the Marvel Legacy comics, the colour of the Time Stone has now become green, as in the MCU. Moving on, we have the Space Stone, which is purple in colour and allows the user to exist in any location. The gem also allows the user to move anywhere throughout reality, warp or rearrange space, teleport themselves and others, increase their speed, and alter the distance between objects despite the laws of physics. When backed by the Power Gem, the wielder of the stone becomes omnipresent. Like the MCU, the Space Stone is now blue in colour. Next, we have the Mind Stone, which is blue in colour and allows the user to enhance their mental and psionic abilities, as well as access the thoughts and dreams of other beings. When backed by the Power Gem, the Mind Stone gives the user the ability to access all minds in existence simultaneously. The stone has now become yellow in the comics, as we see in the MCU. We then have the Reality Gem, which was originally yellow and allows the user to fulfill their wishes even if the wishes contradict scientific laws and do things that would usually be impossible. When backed by all other 5 gems, the Reality Gem grants the wielder the ability to alter reality on a universal scale and create any alternate reality they choose. To match the films, the Reality Stone is now red. Finally, we have the Power Stone, which was originally red in the comics. The Power Stone allows the user to access and manipulate all forms of energy or power and is often used to enhance the power of the other 5 Infinity Gems. At full power, the gem grants the user omnipotence. In accordance with the films, the Power Stone is now purple. We were first introduced to an Infinity Stone back in 2011's Captain America the First Avenger. However, we did not know we were seeing an Infinity Stone, as 5 out of 6 of the stones are enclosed inside weapons or some protective shield. We would first get the origins of the Infinity Stones revealed to us by the collector in 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Before creation itself, there were 6 singularities. Then the universe exploded into existence, and the remnants of these systems were forged into concentrated ingots. Infinity Stone.
So, the collector explains how the stones came to be, but I'm going to run through all the MCU movies and break down where each of the Infinity Stones are and how they move around. Starting at the very beginning, we have Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2 and Thor, all of which feature no Infinity Stones. We then come to Captain America the First Avenger, in which we see the Red Skull wielding the Tesseract, which contains the blue-coloured Space Stone of the MCU. We then see the Tesseract buried in the Arctic waters before it is later recovered by Howard Stark, who leaves it in the possession of S.H.I.E.L.D. Moving into the Avengers, we have the appearance of 2 Infinity Stones. We see Loki teleport through the Tesseract in the beginning of the movies, hinting at it being the teleporting Space Stone. When Loki arrives on Earth to steal the Tesseract, he is equipped with his scepter, which actually contains the yellow-coloured Mind Stone of the MCU, explaining how he is able to control people in this film. In the third act of the film, we see Loki use the abilities of the Space Stone, again opening up a wormhole for the Chitauri to invade New York. Once Loki is defeated at the end of the Avengers, him and Thor return to Asgard with the Tesseract, meaning the Space Stone was then on Asgard. The scepter containing the Mind Stone remains on Earth in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s custody, who we later learn were actually Hydra. Moving into the Phase 2 films, we have Iron Man 3, which doesn't feature any Infinity Stones. Then we have Thor the Dark World, in which the red-coloured Reality Stone is revealed. However, the Reality Stone is in liquid form in Thor the Dark World, appearing as the ether which possesses and begins killing Thor's love interest, Jane Foster. At the end of the film, Thor manages to contain the ether in some form of Asgardian box capable of containing extremely powerful weapons. In the post-credit scene of The Dark World, we see the Asgardian warriors, Lady Sif and Volstagg, take the ether, the Reality Stone, to the Collector. The Collector questions why they do not keep it on Asgard, to which they respond,
Is already on Asgard. It is not wise to keep two Infinity Stones so close together.
That's very wise.
which was our first official reveal that the Tesseract and Ether were in fact Infinity Stones. Captain America the Winter Soldier does not feature any Infinity Stones, but then we have Guardians of the Galaxy, in which the purple-coloured Power Stone is a major plot of the film. Peter Quill steals the orb from Morag, which contains the all-powerful Power Stone. The stone is passed around in the film, starting with Quill, before being possessed by the villain Ronan the Accuser, and finally being given to the Nova Corps for safekeeping on their home planet of Xandar. Moving on to Avengers Age of Ultron, we see Loki's scepter, the Mind Stone, again in the clutches of Hydra, who have used its energy to manipulate the DNA of two twins, Wanda and Pietro Maximoff, aka Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. The Avengers manage to retrieve the scepter, and Tony Stark and Bruce Banner begin experimenting with its power, leading to the creation of the evil Ultron. Later in the film, Ultron takes the scepter and builds it into the body he will claim as his ultimate form, Vision. When Vision comes to life, we see the Mind Stone is embedded in his forehead, where it remains throughout this and many future films. Ant-Man and Civil War follow, but do not introduce us to any new Infinity Stones, so we will move straight over to Doctor Strange. We are introduced to the ancient relic, the Eye of Agamotto, which is a necklace worn by Doctor Strange containing the green-coloured Time Stone. At the end of the film, we see Strange use the Time Stone to trap the villain Dormammu in an endless time loop, showing it has the same capabilities as it does in the comics. The Time Stone then remains with Doctor Strange, protected in the New York Sanctum Sanctorum, contained within the Eye of Agamotto. Skipping over Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Spider-Man Homecoming, we jump to Thor Ragnarok. No new Infinity Stones are introduced in this film. However, at the very ending, Thor, Loki, and the Asgardians escape Asgard. We see Loki take the Tesseract, Space Stone, from the vault, so it is now in his possession. Again, let's skip Black Panther and go straight to the very beginning of Infinity War, where we see Thanos already possesses the purple Power Stone, battle and almost kill Thor. After defeat, Thanos then takes the Space Stone from Loki and Thor, meaning he then had both the purple Power Stone and blue Space Stone. Thor later reveals that Thanos has already been to Xandar prior to the film in order to get the purple Power Stone, which we last saw being kept there by the Nova Corps. In the middle of the film, we then see Thanos steal the red Reality Stone from the Collector, which we last saw in the post-credit scene of Thor the Dark World. Thanos then visits the planet Vormir to retrieve the only stone which has not yet made an appearance, the orange-coloured Soul Stone. After getting the Soul Stone, Doctor Strange then sacrifices the green Time Stone, leaving Thanos with only the Mind Stone to get. Thanos travels to Earth to retrieve the sixth and final of the Infinity Stones, the Mind Stone, which is embedded in Vision's head. Then it happens. With all 6 Infinity Stones in his possession, Thanos snaps. Going back in time, we have Captain Marvel, which takes place in the 1990s and features the Tesseract, as it was still in possession of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this time, having been found by Howard Stark back in the 1940s. The Tesseract Space Stone is responsible for giving Captain Marvel her abilities. Finally, we get to Endgame. When we pick up, Thanos has destroyed the stone so they can't be used again, but that doesn't stop our Avengers from going back in time to get them. We see Captain America, Iron Man, Bruce Banner and Ant-Man return to 2012 in the Avengers film and of invasion of New York City to get the Tesseract and Scepter which Loki had. The team manage to get the scepter, but Loki manages to get a hold of the Tesseract, Space Stone, and teleport himself to an unknown location. In the same time and place, Bruce Banner visits the Ancient One in the Sanctum Sanctorum as she is in possession of the Time Stone. With some talking and convincing, the Ancient One then willingly hands over the green Time Stone to Bruce Banner. Having failed, Tony and Cap make a trip back to 1970 to Camp Lehigh, where S.H.I.E.L.D. are in possession of the Tesseract. Elsewhere, Thor and Rocket return to Asgard during the events of Thor the Dark World to retrieve the Reality Stone which is inhabiting Jane's body. In space, War Machine and Nebula go back to Morag in 2014 when we first saw Peter Quill steal the Orb. Black Widow and Hawkeye simultaneously journey to Vormir where they retrieve the Orange Soul Stone. All the Avengers are successful and return home with all 6 of the Infinity Stones. Using a Stark-built gauntlet, Bruce Banner in his Professor Hulk form snaps his fingers in order to reverse the events of Infinity War. The Avengers then have a massive battle with Thanos, and we see Tony using his own gauntlet to snap with all 6 stones. After the chaos has all ended, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, travels back in time to return all 6 Infinity Stones to where they were before the time travel of Endgame. After Endgame, there's been no mention of the stones, but they are definitely powerful enough to make an appearance again in the future. No one can say for sure how, when, or if they will be used again, but unless something is officially confirmed by the head of Kevin Feige, anything is a possibility. Damn! These stones move about the MCU a lot and it can be very confusing to follow at all times. But I do hope this video has helped you understand the powers of the stones and why and how they've been so important in the MCU so far. If you have any recommendations for other explanations you would like to see me do, please leave them down below in the comments. Like always, give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel for more Marvel content like this. Thanks again for watching and I'll catch you all in the next one.